are now listening to a true horror story. Uncover hidden truths, ancient legends, and unexplained mysteries, where the unknown begins and reality bends from beyond truth. Dim the lights, put on your headphones, and don't look behind you, because what you're about to hear might just be real.
The Queen Mary, the haunted ship, or the floating palace of souls. Imagine a colossal symbol of opulence and power, a majestic machine that once commanded the vast oceans, ferrying glamorous movie stars, powerful politicians, and even royalty from one continent to another. That was the magnificent RMS Queen Mary, a pinnacle of 20th century maritime engineering, a steel fortress upon the waves, now eternally docked in Long Beach, California. No longer merely a ship, she stands as a museum, a hotel, and a colossal tomb for countless restless souls. Whispers abound that she isn't just a haunted ship. She is a floating palace of spirits, forever confined between the vast sea and the limitless sky. The Queen Mary's history is a tapestry woven from threads of gold and threads of blood. When she was launched in 1934, the world marveled at her grandeur and colossal size. For nearly 3 decades, this vessel made hundreds of transatlantic crossings, witnessing countless lavish parties, blossoming romances, and significant historical moments. The music of ballroom dances, the clinking of champagne glasses, and laughter echoed through her gilded halls. But then, World War II erupted, forcing the Queen Mary to shed her glamorous facade. The ship was painted gray, transformed into a troop transport, earning the chilling nickname the Gray Ghost due to her speed and uncanny ability to evade enemy submarines. Hundreds of thousands of Allied soldiers were ferried across treacherous oceans on this very ship. It was during this harsh wartime era that tragedy, fear, and death began to deeply embed themselves within the Queen Mary's steel heart. It's estimated that over 50 deaths have occurred on this vessel throughout its operational history. Each death represents a unique story, an indelible sorrow, from unfortunate sailors who met their demise in the smoke-filled engine rooms, to passengers who succumbed to illness at sea, soldiers who perished in combat, and even desperate souls who ended their lives by plunging into the cold ocean waters. Every last breath, every desperate cry, seems to have been absorbed into the very steel and timber of the ship, creating a potent spiritual energy field, an invisible prison for wandering spirits. Allow me to introduce you to some of the Queen Mary's eternal residents, ghosts who have become legends, sending shivers down the spines of all who hear their tales. Boiler Room 13 and the Screams of John Petter. Perhaps the most famous and frequently witnessed story is that of John Petter. He was a young sailor, only 18 years old, whose destiny met a horrific end during an emergency watertight door drill in 1966. John became trapped and was crushed to death by a heavy watertight door in Boiler Room 13. His death was a tragic and sudden accident. Today, Boiler Room 13 is considered one of the most intense paranormal hotspots on the ship. Visitors and staff frequently report feeling a sudden, intense cold spot, as if an invisible current of air passes through them. 3 distinct knocks, repeated from inside the empty boiler room, are a common occurrence, as if someone is desperately trying to escape. Sometimes a blurry silhouette of a man in a sailor's uniform appears for a fleeting moment before vanishing. And most chillingly, those sensitive to the spiritual world have sworn that they hear John's blood-curdling screams echoing through the mechanical corridors, pleading for release from his grim fate. The first-class pool and the laughter of children. One of the most intensely haunted areas on the Queen Mary is the first-class swimming pool complex, particularly the adjacent ladies' changing room. 2 young girls tragically drowned mysteriously in this pool at different times, one of whom was named Jackie around 1966. This area is now their eternal playground. Visitors frequently hear the innocent giggling of children echoing from empty rooms, the unmistakable sound of splashing water despite the pool being drained and dry, and occasionally, strange tiny wet footprints appearing on the dry tiled floor without explanation. Some even report feeling small hands gently touching them, a cold contact with no visible source. The faint sound of a little girl calling out the name Mary is also often recorded, creating an atmosphere that is both endearing and deeply unsettling. The eternal female spirits. The ghost of a woman in a classic white swimsuit often appears in the pool area or the corridor leading to it. She is described as a beautiful, graceful woman, sometimes appearing in full form, sometimes as a mere shadow flitting across one's vision, vanishing as soon as you try to get a clearer look. Further on in the third-class swimming pool area is where a young woman mysteriously drowned in the 1930s. She often appears in a white evening gown, and visitors sometimes catch the strong scent of her perfume in nearby corridors, a classic fragrance that drifts by and then dissipates, leaving a strange and lingering sense of unease. The boiler room crew and wandering sailors. The Queen Mary wasn't just for glamorous passengers. Below deck, in the hot and dangerous boiler rooms, hundreds of sailors worked tirelessly in extreme conditions. Many perished due to accidents or exhaustion. Today, numerous staff members and guests have reported seeing the apparitions of tall men in old boiler room uniforms pacing through the ship's technical areas. They often appear and vanish abruptly, as if still diligently performing their duties. The clang of metal, the heavy footsteps, and sometimes even tired groans are heard emanating from these sections. Commonly reported phenomena on the Queen Mary, making her a magnet for supernatural experiences, include disembodied voices and sounds, faint, unintelligible whispers echoing from the walls, knocks on locked doors, heavy footsteps in empty corridors, the eerie giggling of ghostly children, splashing sounds in dry pools, and even the phantom hum of old machinery from the engine room long after the engines have ceased operation. Physical manifestations. Objects mysteriously moving on their own, doors autonomously opening and closing without a draft, lights flickering erratically or turning on and off by themselves. Cold spots and phantom touches. Many visitors and staff report sudden, intense cold spots, as if stepping into a blast of air from another dimension. The sensation of being pulled by the hair or feeling a cold, invisible hand touch their shoulder or arm are common and truly chilling experiences. Apparitions and shadow figures. From blurry shadows gliding through corridors to clear apparitions of people in old-fashioned attire, especially in the engine rooms, pool areas, and first-class cabins. Some have even reported seeing a beautiful blonde woman dancing alone in the ballroom, or a man in a tuxedo standing at a closed bar. Unexplained scents. Strong perfumes, the lingering smell of old tobacco, or even musty, decaying odors, appearing and disappearing suddenly with no discernible source. Today, the Queen Mary is not merely a majestic floating hotel, but also an interactive museum of history and the supernatural. Ghost tours are regularly conducted, attracting thousands of visitors each year, eager to find evidence of the spirit's existence. Paranormal investigators from around the world have flocked here, reporting numerous pieces of evidence, from EVPs to strange photographs and powerful intuitive perceptions. Many assert that the energy on the ship is palpable, and the stories are far from mere fabrications. The Queen Mary stands as a vivid testament that tragic tales, even decades old, can leave a profound imprint on the physical world. She is not just a ship, but a colossal mausoleum of untold stories, where the spirits of the past remain eternally docked, waiting to be heard, to be felt, and to be reminded that they are still there, in their floating palace. Do you dare step aboard and experience the presence of these spirits? Or will you simply be another passenger passing by the whispered stories of the past, afraid to look back? One thing is certain. Once you set foot on the Queen Mary, you will not escape the feeling that you are never truly alone.